If you look up tea in the first cookery book that comes to hand, you'll probably find that it is unmentioned, or at most you will find a few lines of sketchy instructions which give no ruling on several of the most important points. This is curious, not only because tea is one of the mainstays of civilization in this country, as well as in Aya, Australia, and New Zealand, but because the best manner of making it is a subject of violent disputes.
While I look through my rules for the perfect cup of tea, I find no fewer than 11 outstanding points. On perhaps 2 of them, there would be pretty general agreement. However, there are at least 4 which are acutely controversial. Here are my own 11 rules for the perfect cup of tea, every one of which I regard as golden.
First, one should use Indian or Ceylonese tea. China tea has virtues which are not to be despised nowadays. It is economical and one can drink it without milk, but there is not much stimulation in it. One does not feel wiser, braver, or more optimistic after drinking. Anyone who has to use that comforting phrase, a nice cup of tea, invariably means Indian tea.
Secondly, tea should be made in small quantities, that is, out of a teapot. Tea out of an urn is always tasteless, and army tea, made in a cauldron, tastes of grease and whitewash.
The teapot should be made of china or earthenware. Silver or Britannia-ware teapots produce inferior tea, and enamel pots are worse. Though, curiously enough, a pewter teapot, their rarity nowadays, is not so bad. Thirdly, the pot should be warmed beforehand. This is better done by placing it on the hob than by the usual method of swilling it out with hot water. Fourthly, the tea should be strong. For a pot holding a quart, if you're going to fill it nearly to the brim, 6 heaped teaspoons would be about right.
In a time of rationing, this is not an idea that can be recognised every day of the week. But I maintain that 1 strong cup of tea is better than 20 weak ones. In fact, all true tea lovers not only like their tea strong, but in fact a little stronger with each year that passes. A fact that is recognised in the extra ration given to old age pensioners.
Fifthly, the tea should be put straight into the pot. No strainers, muslin bags, or other devices to imprison the tea. In some countries, teapots are fitted with little dangling baskets under the spout to catch the stray leaves, which are supposed to be harmful.
Actually, one can swallow tea leaves in considerable quantities without any ill effect, and if the tea is not loose in the pot, it never infuses properly. And that's how you do it. Proper cup of tea. Sixthly, one should take the teapot to the kettle and not the other way around, which means the water should be actually boiling at the moment of impact, which means you should keep it on the hob while you do so. Some people say that one should use freshly boiled water, but I've never noticed that it makes any difference. Then, one should give the pot a good stir, or better yet, a good shake to help the leaves infuse. But make sure not to get water all over your lovely bourbon biscuits. One should drink out of a good breakfast cup. That is, the cylindrical kind, rather than the flat, shallow cup. With the breakfast cup, one can hold more tea, whilst with the other type, one's tea is always half cold, before one has well started on it.
Ninthly, one should pour the cream off the milk before using it for tea. Milk that is too creamy always gives tea a sickly taste. 10thly, one should pour tea into the cup first. This is one of the most controversial points of all. Indeed, in every family in Britain, there are probably 2 schools of thought on the subject. The milk first school can bring forward some fairly strong arguments, but I maintain that my own argument is unanswerable. This is that, by putting the tea in first, and stirring as one pours, one can exactly regulate the amount of milk, whereas one is liable to put in too much milk if one does it the other way round.
Lastly, tea, unless you're drinking it in the Russian style, should be drunken without sugar. Now, I know well that I'm in a minority here. But still, how can you call yourself a true tea lover if you destroy the flavour of the tea by putting sugar in it? One might as well put salt or pepper in it. Tea is meant to be bitter, just as beer is meant to be bitter.
If you sweeten it, you are no longer tasting the tea. You are merely tasting the sugar. You can make a very similar drink by dissolving sugar in plain hot water.
Some people would say that they don't like the tea in of itself, that they only drink it in order to be warmed and stimulated and need the sugar to take the taste away. To those misguided people, I would say, try drinking your tea without sugar for a fortnight, and it is very unlikely that you will ever need to ruin your tea by sweetening it again. No sugar in this one.
It is worth paying attention to such details as warming the pot and using water that is really boiling, so as to make quite sure of wringing out of one's ration the 20 good, strong cups that 2 ounces, properly handled, ought to represent.